I think it. Yeah, and I've made the conscious. I don't want to reboot. I know they've already rebooted that, but that was embarrassing. That reboot,
I don't think I saw it.
man. There are things that. Oh, so you've never seen the first one?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Are you familiar with the scene where Freddy starts to come through the wall?
Yep.
So I don't.
Stranger Things.
Is it?
Stranger Things stole that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when Freddy comes through the wall, it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And how they just did that was they just stretched latex super thin, and then he just literally just pressed up against it.
It's a great effect.
Looks amazing, terrifying. They did the same thing, but they just did like a shitty CG version, and just any realness, any authenticity is just gone.
All the creativity has been sucked out of making motion pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they've kind of. It feels like they've taken a break. If they're rebooting things, which I'm sure they are, at least it seems like they're not. It's not like huge big name.
Well, like we had a real orgy of reboots for
Like 10 years.
7-10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Once people realized that that's what you could do,
Yeah.
then it just was what everyone was doing because it was an infinite money pile, and it still kind of is.
I mean, I think like even before people caught on to it, I mean, like there were remakes of like Planet of the Apes and Day the Earth Stood Still, like War of the Worlds. Like those were really early on before it became like a trend.
Tim Burton, Spielberg, for those. I'm not sure who did the Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Keanu Reeves was in it.
Yeah. Love that guy.
I don't know. He's one of those. He's like on Bill Murray level, where it's just like people love him so much that I'm just like, yeah, it's. I don't know. It's fine. I don't dislike him, but I'm just like.
I think he's overhyped.
I can't even say that. Like,
he just seems like a really lovely person.
I just reserve any judgment.
And I think I think Keanu Reeves is a better actor than Bill Murray.
I can't speak much for Bill Murray either. Same deal. Groundhog Day is sweet.
People like Bill Murray because he's wacky in real life too.
Yeah.
You know, he's wacky in the movies and he's wacky in real life. Hey, did you hear that time Bill Murray showed up at a wedding and acted like a bartender and blah 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 fucking blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm over the Bill Murray hump. I'm done with Bill Murray. I'm on to Keanu Reeves. I'm wholeheartedly in favor of Keanu Reeves.
If you don't shut the fuck up. Do we have to do anything else before we...
Are we not recording yet?
I mean, we're recording, but this isn't the show.
This is the show. This is the show. This is what the show is.
This is what the show is.
This is the show. We're going to play the music in line. I'll introduce
Just
everything.
keep talking.
Just
next week...
Oh, man.
We can either do...
Signs?
We could do signs, or we could also do the posse cut. I think... I don't really care if you have a preference. My only thought is that I think aside from that posse cut, I think we have a lot of movie stuff lined up. So
do we? Because I'm really pushing to get this Resident Evil Chronicles and Narnia thing off the ground as soon as possible.
I don't know if I can read that much.
Well, no, here's the thing. We'll structure it, all right? We'll do... It's not going to be every episode, but every month we will read one of each book.
We're supposed to be playing...
Chrono Trigger? That's done.
Which I haven't touched.
Fucking Chrono Trigger
I haven't touched
Chrono
it
Trigger
since...
is done, man. Chrono Trigger is out.
I'm insulted that you haven't put that together yet, Kurt. It's the
Curtis,
fucking...
I deleted it off my computer, all right? Chrono Trigger is done.
We're never playing that
again. We're never
again.
going to touch that game again. The half hour of Chrono Trigger that you played and the hour and a half that I played, that's all that's ever going to get talked about on this show. We ain't got time. We got Resident Evil novelizations to read, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Maybe we'll return to it afterwards.
No, we won't.
Who am I kidding?
You want to play that hour and a half again? I don't even... No, it's over.
It's a very good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but video games are tough for the show, man.
They are.
And you know what we haven't done one of yet?
What?
A book.
I was hoping we'd make it the first 50 without touching books.
Here's how we do it, all right?
Okay,
we read a Resident Evil novel and a Chronicles of Narnia novel. Each month, we do one episode about each. So if a month has 4 episodes, one will be about a Narnia novel, one will be about a Resident Evil novel, and the other 2 will be about whatever else. Fucking, I don't know. Maybe we'll do Tarantino movies again or something.
Something easy.
something that doesn't take a lot of energy or effort.
Yeah. Something we know we like.
Yeah.
So in case this goes to shit.
Yeah. Which it almost certainly will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I can't even pretend that I'm gonna follow through with, like usually I'm like, I could do this. Yeah, I can. All right, I can do this.
You can't read a book every 2 weeks? They're short.
I haven't read a fucking full book in like 2 years.
Well, you read that Mick Foley autobiography, right? No, you had read that
I've
years
read that
ago. Yeah,
countless times.
yeah.
The last book I read. Oh no. Fuck. Probably like ODB's biography that came out like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
What if I don't remember how to read?
Are we gonna do this eventually?
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right, then we're gonna do it,
and we'll start.
We'll
just start it.
There's no better time than the present.
Yep. I also really want to do Signs and Death to Smoochie.
Death to Smoochie. All right, I'm gonna add Death to Smoochie to the list. Because we're going to need stuff to keep the fucking mill moving while we're doing these Resident Evil and Narnia novels.
We also might have to hang out and watch Death to Smoochie. I'm pretty sure that movie's hard to come by.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not like on streaming?
I'm not sure. I don't know. But I have it. So I'll let you borrow it or something. I have a shitty weird copy of it. You remember for like 5 minutes when video rental stores tried to become DVD rental stores?
Yeah.
That's what I have.
Oh,
like a paper printout.
That's weird.
Hannaford.
Before they just said like, I don't know, let's get a Redbox.
Yeah.
I've been fantasizing about a revival of the video rental store recently. Mm-hmm. Like, what would it take for that to be economically feasible? I
don't know, man. It's tough because I was thinking the same thing about like a used record store. Like if my dream was ever to like open a used record store, I realized in like 10 minutes it wouldn't be because I wouldn't want to sell any of it. So waste of time.
It would just be a museum.
But I don't know. I think especially around here, Bull Moose has like a racket on that stuff. You just like, I was at a flea market the other day looking at DVDs, $2 a piece.
Right. But that's the price of a rental.
You can't get much cheaper than that. No. And then for $3, I can get most of those DVDs guaranteed to work at Bull Moose.
Yeah.
They buy people's DVDs for 8 cents a piece.
Yeah, man, that's true. That's true.
It's ruined in this area.
That's okay. That answers my question.
I wish we could.
That answers. Clearly, you've actually already thought about this.
That's like a dream. That's like the dream.
Yeah, but in that case, it's like why do it? You'd have to run
a video store.
You'd have to rent DVDs for $0.05 a piece to be able to keep up with the Bull Moose business.
The only way you could do it.
Okay.
Now hear me out.
Now, if there was a way, if I could do it.
If there was a way to do it, you'd have to get a license to sell cigarettes. Because everybody that sells their DVDs at Bull Moose uses it to buy cigarettes.
Okay.
So you could just cut out the middleman and trade people cigarettes for their old DVDs. That's the way to do it.
That's the actual only way to do it.
I'm almost positive.
That's a real blue sky solution you've come up with.
I'm almost positive that that's the only way to do it.
Yep. Okay. All right. And you'd have to have like all kinds of different types of cigarettes, right? I guess. The red kinds.
The red ones.
The blue ones. The yellow kind.
The kind with the Native American on them.
Yep.
And then you'd have to do the Cumberland Farms method. You have to make the Ben & Curt Till It Hurts brand of cigarettes, and just
and they'd actually be pretty good.
Every day you have to make sure the price of your cigarettes is 10 cents cheaper than the next lowest pack of cigarettes. So whatever rolled golds are going for. Wait, no, those are pretzels. Old golds.
Old rolled gold.
Whatever old golds are going for.
Cigarro pretzels.
You do 10 cents low. Actually, that's the Cumbies. So 15 cents lower than First Class. Or
are there actually Cumberland Farms brand cigarettes?
They're not called Cumberland Farms, but Cumberland Farms owns. I think it's called First Class.
Oh,
cigarettes.
Wow. Huh.
It's a Cumbies exclusive brand.
Oh, man.
They came out when I worked at Cumberland Farms.
Jeez, that turns the whole market upside down. And is that actually their racket? That
Yeah.
they're just cheap? They're just that much cheaper
They're 10
than the next
cents cheaper
brand?
than whatever the next.
So a lot of people are going to sell their shit at Bull Moose and then like walking to Cumbies and just buying whatever the price on first class cigarettes is.
Yeah. And until they make it legal for us to sell crack, we probably can't.
Because that's the other thing you spend your Bull Moose bucks on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this has been a really great discussion.
Maybe I'll throw it at the end of the episode.
Yeah?
This is like 10 minutes of us.
You're not comfortable opening it with this?
I don't know. That's bold.
I am totally
That's
comfortable
bold.
with this just being the opening of the episode.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you want to start?
Yeah, let's start. What are we doing next week, though?
Do you want to do the posse cut or signs next week?
Let's do signs.
Okay.
Then posse cut, then Death to Smoochie, then Resident Evil.
Book club. That's going to be my summer.
Club.
You're going to be able to join the
That's
going to
be your summer and fall and winter, unless you want to do one of these things per episode, man. This is 14 novels we're going to read, okay? And 7 of them are certifiable great.
7 of them?
7 of them.
Is every Narnia book great?
Every Narnia book is great. Every Resident Evil book is terrible.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why we're alternating. We want a good book, then a bad book.
What are we starting with?
We're going to just go chronological order.
No, I meant like with Narnia or Resident Evil.
That's a great question. Let's see how we feel after Smoochie.
After we have a month of episodes leading up. Maybe I'll try to get like a jump start.
Yeah, man.
It's not going to work. It'll be just like school.
It is going to be a lot like school.
So yeah, signs, posse cut, Death to Smoochie. We're just letting all you guys know way ahead.
Yep.
All right.
We do plan these, guys.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I know it sounds like we're all off the cuff. It sounds like, but every episode is episode is rigidly scripted.
The amount of effort that it feels like that goes into this show, it's like 10% more than that.
On a good week.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I still have not put in the effort to fucking upload those episodes to YouTube yet.
Have you listened to the Road Warrior episode?
No.
Okay. So
I don't want to talk about it.
No.
I was in a bad mood.
That episode has become one of my favorite episodes that we've done.
Really?
Because I listened to it and I was like, you know what? This is actually funny. Like it came across as funny, and I went the extra mile. I got some samples. I actually edited the podcast. I didn't just like fucking snip the ends off and put it up. I interspliced a few samples into it and stuff, and it was actually like I was like, oh yeah, like I like to edit things. Like it was
it was a renaissance.
A renaissance. That was the word I was looking for. I was stuck between resurgence and renaissance, so I got lost. Yeah,
it was a revolution.
It was a revolution.
It was reloaded.
I like.
Let's just get the.
You know what? But just as like a maybe.
Wait a minute. I'm really looking forward to the Resident Evil novels. I can't.
We are going to, after that, we're going to play every non-numbered Resident Evil game.
That's a crazy idea. That's the kind of thing a crazy person
You
says.
are a crazy person for thinking that.
All right, we're starting with Code Veronica.
Followed shortly by Dead Aim. File Outbreak.
Revelations.
File Outbreak number 2.
We're gonna have to play the online ones.
Revelations, as I call it, because there's a typo on the box. Revelations 2.
I'm just gonna put the Matrix on this list also, so just so you know what's going on over here.
Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
The only way I'll do the Matrix after I've already agreed to do the first one.
And the second and third ones.
I don't think I agreed to that. That's on tape. That's filmed. I don't know if I ever agreed to that. What if we make it a month-long event? Mm-hmm. You can pick 2, The Matrix being one of them, and I'll pick 2 of our favorite movies from 1999. And we'll party like it's 1999.
Oh, I like it. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, so The Matrix is going to be
one of the...
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to write party like it's 1999.
I'm just going to write The Matrix on here.
I'm just going to write The Matrix. It's going to be both of mine are going to be The Matrix. I hope that's what
we're going to do. You really need to watch that one twice.
Then we're going to party like it's 2003 for The Matrix Reloaded.
Good. We'll be able to watch American Pie 2.
Oh man, the American Pie series is gonna be fucking lit. We should just do a podcast where we plan what we're gonna do on our podcast.
That's pretty much what this is, and if anyone's still listening to this, this is pretty much what it's like every week before we actually start recording.
It really is. It really is.
A
lot of mouth noises.
A lot of mouth noises.
Can we just do one episode where it's just mouth noises?
Yeah. You know what I want to do?
What?
I want to know. I like making the mouth noises, and I'm gonna make some. I'm gonna make some mouth noises for you.
Mm-hmm. No, Curtis, I wanted this podcast to be publishable.
Yeah. Here's a good one. I spend a lot of time in here making gross mouth noises. Yeah. Anyway. Should we start?
Yeah, I think we're good.
What are we doing next week? No.
Next week we have decided we are going to do... Oh, I can't remember. Was it Signs or the Posse Cut? It's all on the tape.
Next week is Signs, and then
Signs,
Posse Cut.
Then Triumph versus The Last Huzzah. Not actually going to be a competition. It's just going to be two great Posse Cuts that I think we both really
Actually,
like.
I was going to say, that was the first time we've ever given any context into what Posse Cut means.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Check. 1, 2, check.
Check, mic check.
That's good. Skirt. Oh, too much. I mean, I hate the knobs on this thing. Yeah, you know those knobs where you push and it won't go, and then you one little more,
just that last
one
bit.
Extra joule of energy, and it fucking flies. That's how this mixer works. All right.
Hello and welcome to Feels Fake, Ben and Curt Till It Hurts, the culture cast caught at the crossroads of curation and castration. Curtis, how are you?
I'm great, Ben. How are you?
I'm great, Curtis.
That's great.
We are here again, once again. The
friends.
Podcast didn't break up after the last episode. I was genuinely angry.
It's probably good that we left that little chunk in the beginning to...
Yep.
You know, you can feel the real friendship that made it through that.
Yes.
We're closer now.
Yes.
You know what? If David Lynch could break us apart, then...
I don't want to relitigate the David Lynch
I wasn't going to
here.
let a really good movie like Road Warrior...
a movie that I really liked.
I really did enjoy.
I really did like
I don't
this
know
movie.
why this is such a weird... I really did like the movie. I just didn't... Anyway.
It was just fine. It's fine.
No, right? It was good.
Was it
good.
Tight? Is it tight shit? I don't
know how I can call it.
Jury's out on that.
Yeah.
We are here today to talk about Gremlins.
Yes.
Right? Some of my favorite things. Gremlins. But first, what have you been up to?
Not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I actually struggled to think of this today because I have like 2 days left of a 3-week no days off thing because I've been working 2 jobs in the summertime. And so my entire life I have not touched a video game, or aside from Road Warrior and Gremlins, I have not watched a movie in the past like three-ish weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been like listening to music like crazy in my car, and I'm still going strong on that Misfits thing, working on those reviews. You know, you like write stuff like in your head when you can't, and then you just need to like get down, you know, and get it all down. That's pretty much the writing process with that series.
Very good.
I even started going into like the Glenn Danzig solo stuff. I don't know if you ever listened to any of his solo stuff.
Not really. Only just this one great YouTube video of a great Danzig impersonator singing "My Hips Don't Lie."
Okay.
As like a duet with Shakira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not really. Like someone edited it together, but yeah, it's one of my favorite YouTube videos.
I've the third era of Misfits stuff is like pretty not good and like written off by a lot of people. So I decided if I'm giving this a chance, I need to give Glenn Danzig's solo stuff a chance too. And it's pretty sweet. It literally sounds, the perfect way to describe it is if Angus Young from AC/DC joined Black Sabbath and they recorded an album, and then Jim Morrison from The Doors was like, "I'll come sing on that." That's
incredible.
That is the perfect definition of Danzig's band. I've been listening to it all week, and I've been chewing on the different variables.
Yep.
Like, what if Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath joined AC/DC? And I was like, no, it's definitely Angus Young joins Black Sabbath. That's the conclusion that I've come to.
That's great.
What have you been up to?
Oh, man. Similar to you, I haven't been watching a lot of movies or playing video. I don't think I've touched a video game in months at this point, aside from Chrono Trigger, and that even barely.
Yeah.
But I've been, like I said last week, I'm on the Spotify Premium train. I'm seeing how that's going. It's going great.
Living
so
the
far.
high life.
Living the high life. I've sprung for it, you know. And one thing that popped up on there was Ray LaMontagne's new album. I don't know if you're familiar with Ray LaMontagne.
I've heard of some singles like on Sirius.
He's kind of a guy from the area who's like hitting it really big right now. So it's
I didn't know he was from this area, so
he is. I don't want to out myself as where I live. People can probably find this information, but Ray LaMontagne, I believe, is a Lewistonian.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's doing well for himself.
Yeah, he sure is. And his new album, I listened to Ouroboros, which was his that came out in 2016, I think. His new album is called Part of the Light, and it is fan-friggin-tastic. It's got these great like 60s, 70s kind of psych rock folk vibes going on. A lot of different tones. His voice is, you got to kind of let it grow on you a little bit. He's got a lot of character. It's kind of like a husky sort of sound to his voice. But as far as his songwriting goes, man, dude's on point. So I've been really loving Ray LaMontagne's new album. My wife, Megan, friend of the show.
Hi, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No, you're listening. She has got me on this Shaky Graves album. She mentioned it on the show, but we've got the record, we've got the vinyl. Every time she spins that, it just like makes me very happy.
Good.
Shaky Graves, Can't Wake Up, very relevant to our podcast, really. And other than that, I watched about 2/3 of The Wizard of Oz last night.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Did you sync it up?
Just put on my Dark Side, my vinyl, and...
Hey, you know what, though? That's weird that you just said that, because it triggered something in my brain that I had another idea for a show I want us to do. Have you ever listened to The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking by Roger Waters?
No.
It ties in it's a very dream-oriented album, and it's like stream of conscious writing. It takes place, I believe, I've never really listened to much of it, but it takes place like each song title is like a time, and it plays in time to like a guy waking in and out of sleep in the early morning of a day.
Wow.
And going on different dream adventures, I guess.
Different hypnagogic journeys.
Yep. Anyway,
that sounds really cool.
Not to cut you off, but
no, that was
we'll have to add that to the list.
Friggin' Wizard of Oz is amazing, man.
Dude, is it not one of the greatest movies ever made?
One of the greatest films.
Every time I watch it, like once every 5 years, I'm just like, God, this movie's sick.
They really do not make movies like that anymore.
No, it's amazing. Great book, great film.
Mm-hmm. And partially they don't make movies like that anymore because we cannot abuse our lead actresses like that anymore.
Yeah, you know, but not to take anything away from her, but you know, there was just abuse all over that. There was make the Tin Man guy breathe poison.
Yeah.
Just pay those dwarves with alcohol. They're fine.
They're fine. They love booze.
Yep.
All right, that's our culture life. Aside.
Sorry.
Curtis just took a giant Curtis took a giant hit off a reefer.
I've gotten very old in the past week.
But let's talk about Gremlins.
Let's talk about the fantastic
I'll just
film.
start us off with From the Wikipedia page, the AMC Gremlin is an American subcompact automobile introduced in 1970, engineered and manufactured and marketed in a single two-door body style in America by American Motors Corporation, of course, AMC, as well as in Mexico for a slightly shorter period of time.
I didn't know
by
that.
Vehículos Automotores Mexicanos subsidiary.
I wonder if Gremlin means anything in Spanish, like if it has like a or if they had to give it like a different name.
Oh, I bet they used the same name. I bet they just called it the Gremlin.
Yeah.
Now, this is a beautiful automobile, Curtis. It feels like it inspired the automobile designs of the 80s more than anything else. You don't see them on the road very often anymore.
Yeah,
I bet there's
somebody in Lewiston has a Gremlin.
There's a Gremlin rolling around Lewiston?
I see it, yeah.
Has anyone taken a Gremlin and painted it like a Gremlin?
I can only hope.
I can only hope that everyone who owns a Gremlin now has done that, because they all got it, because it's a great reference in the film.
Yeah. Do you think people like cosplay as like Wayne and Garth and have a Gremlin?
Not a Gremlin.
Not a Gremlin?
Not a Gremlin, dude.
Wow.
Not a Gremlin. Megan, again, friend of the show, Megan, hi.
Hi, Megan.
It turns out she was not the only person who had that idea in her head, but I looked it up. Let me look it up. Gremlin Wayne's World, because I can't remember.
My mind is just reeling right now.
It does look like a Gremlin.
Yeah.
But it's not. Wait a minute.
I wonder if there are any like low budget cosplayers that don't know that they have their factual information wrong.
It's an AMC Pacer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, which I don't know. Is the Gremlin another name for a Pacer? I don't know.
I don't know. Man, this just goes to show that we don't always do enough research about what we're talking about.
Or when we do it, we don't do it at the right time, because I'm doing research right now.
we do it live on the show.
We do it at exactly the wrong time.
At least we don't have to like worry about we're never going to take anyone's words and make people think that their words are ours, because we just read the words to you and tell you where it came from. I just read this on Wikipedia.
I just read this
at this moment,
just right now while I'm doing this. So yeah, AMC Pacer, a 76 Pacer, I believe.
I wonder.
They recently sold the Pacer from Wayne's World.
Really?
Yeah, a couple years ago, 2016, I believe. How much do you think it went for? It had just been rehauled. It had been revamped. The only difference was that it didn't have the cassette player. It had a CD player in it, in the radio.
42,000.
Pretty close. 37.5.
Wow. Okay. Yep. Man, can you imagine bombing around in that thing? That must be pretty cool. It's almost a shame that it doesn't have the tape deck.
You could do it yourself. I have to imagine that's the first thing you would do. It has the what is it? A Pop-Tart dispenser that he puts in.
I believe it's Twizzler
dispenser.
Yeah.
It has that.
Oh wow, yeah. Naturally. I can only hope that the person that did that had to have gotten the Queen CD or tape and played Bohemian Rhapsody.
What if it was just a really rich person who just needed a car, and they don't even know that it's the fucking... Yeah. They just sent their representative to the first auction they could find and had them buy the first car that came across the block for whatever amount of money.
That's how rich people buy their cars.
That's how rich people do things. That's how you get rich.
You
take chances.
I hope that it was sold, and if the answer to this and it isn't what I hope, don't tell me. Okay. I hope the person that bought it because they love Wayne's World, and it isn't just like a car collector or like I collect expensive props from films. I hope they are specifically a huge Wayne's World fan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I didn't look this up. Is your mic still working? I bumped your cord a little bit.
Check. Yeah, it looks like it is, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll make sure not to do that again. I'm not going to take my chances.
Maybe I'll buy some new equipment at some point.
Whatever. All right. Our lengthy preamble done.
Yep.
Let's talk about Gremlins, the film, the Joe Dante films. Gremlins.
We are 30 minutes into this podcast.
Gremlins from 1984. And 1990s?
Yeah, 1990.
Gremlins 2.
Gremlins 2. The double feature.
The double feature for a lifetime, man.
Let me tell you how excited I am about double features.
Uh-huh.
I love them, and I think it's because I don't really have time to do it very often. But I love watching a movie back to back, especially like this is cool because these are both good movies and they're sequels. But I even like like our Texorcism thing. I really even like oh man, these two movies kind of have this weird theme. We should watch these.
You remember that time we watched both versions of that last Exorcist movie in a row?
Yeah.
What a great double feature that was.
We did a triple feature that day because
Really?
didn't we watch Texas 4 that same day?
Oh, I hope not.
I think we watched all three.
I don't know that
and
we did.
ate a whole large extra cheese pizza.
We did eat a whole house of pizza, and that was in many ways my favorite part of the day.
It was a nice day out too.
It was really
nice.
nice.
I enjoyed our walk down to the pizzeria.
That was a fun day.
That was a good day.
That was a fun day.
I had my favorite flannel shirt on. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Double features though.
Yeah.
Very good.
Great.
And this is a killer double feature, man.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things about the idea of Gremlins is that I think something that was special about the 80s was that the idea of like a horror comedy was just super prevalent in that decade. There are like more horror comedies than you can count from that decade.
Yeah.
And I think, not to agitate any Ghostbusters fans.
Oh, uh-oh.
But I
saw this correlation too.
I almost think that Gremlins, especially if you count Gremlins 2, but even maybe just Gremlins compared to Ghostbusters, is possibly the best horror comedy of the decade. I wouldn't say it's my personal favorite, because there are just so many. Yeah. I mean, Beetlejuice was
I have my favorite.
What's your favorite?
Dead Alive.
Dead Alive.
Was that a 90s movie? I don't know.
That might have been early 90s, but I don't know. I mean, some of my favorites, though, God, you have I said Ghostbusters, there's Beetlejuice. I'm pretty sure Tremors came out in the late 80s. The Stuff, Toxic Avenger, Elvira was like a whole we can take movies that aren't even funny and make them funny. I love Elvira.
Yeah, it was a very creative time for the genre.
And similar, I think, in a lot of ways to Gremlins was An American Werewolf in London. That came out in the 80s too, and that was
amazing horror movie.
Yeah. So maybe I would have to say maybe that's although each of these horror comedies I think is a different mixture of part comedy, part horror. I think American Werewolf is a little bit more horror and a little bit less comedy than Gremlins.
The weird thing about American Werewolf in London is that the horror and comedy are separated from each other.
Yeah.
Whereas in Gremlins and most other horror comedies, they co-occur. The funniest parts are often also the scariest parts. Whereas American Werewolf in London, there's some seriously disturbing shit in that movie, but also it just has some scenes that are just straightforward comedy scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really interesting, good movie.
So, Gremlins.
Let's wind back to Gremlins.
Let's talk about the cultural phenomenon.
Let's talk about Gremlins. Here's what I love about Gremlins.
Tell me.
Is that in addition to being a great horror comedy, it's also a great horror movie that is appropriate for children.
Yep.
Right? It is both a great horror movie and pretty much totally kid appropriate.
Yeah.
Right? People don't really die. The couple people who you think probably died in the movie, it turns out they're still alive in the sequel, and they just had years of psychic trauma. And I mean, maybe that woman that gets thrown out of the
she's
thrown through the window.
Thrown through the window.
She doesn't, but she landed in a snowbank, right? She might be okay.
It was either a snowbank or the middle of the street.
I don't know. Speaking of the Wizard of Oz, though, great Wizard of Oz reference with that lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a very meaningful Wizard of Oz reference, except insofar as when the Gremlins take over the town, it's a very different place, so you kind of take a journey to the heart of the Gremlin town. But her Wicked Witch woman
that was great.
impersonation in the bank is so funny.
I think that also is my favorite thing about Gremlins. It's a horror movie for kids. Most people that I know, myself included, that saw Gremlins saw it when they were very young, which really amplified the horror effect of it.
Yeah. There's not a lot of genuinely scary stuff.
No, but I think one of the things that's so great about it is that it uses a lot of the movie uses like kid logic, which I think really I never noticed when I was a kid, but as I was watching it last night, I was like, there are a lot of like, this woman is purely evil. Like there's no like gray area.
No
She's
redeeming qualities.
Clearly I'm gonna kill your dog when you don't pay attention. And there was a lot of like people just like making bad decisions, and you're like, this is clearly a bad decision, but oh, here we go. Like we have all these rules for the Gremlins, like make sure you don't feed them after midnight.
Well, what if it's on a plane? It's always midnight somewhere.
Or get
Am I right?
Yeah, or get them wet, or shine lights on them. All three of those things happen in the same night. The very first night.
Yep.
A lot of responsibility. But I really find it funny that so much of the movie just like felt like teenagers in situations that like kids would find themselves in, making it more relatable for kids to watch. Like the whole thing with her dad getting stuck in the chimney, that's like a stupid urban legend that like a kid would tell. Like it's everything about it just was perfect. I've never been like a huge fan of Gremlins. Like I like it a lot, but it's never been one that I've watched very often. But then every time I do watch it, I'm like, man, this movie is sick.
This movie's just tight.
Yeah,
it's really well directed. Like Joe Dante is very
great soundtrack and score. Like fascinating. And
you know what I loved about his direction? I love his establishing shots. Yeah, like towards the end of the movie, you get like several great set pieces in a row. Like you have there's the kitchen set piece with the mom. There's the bar set piece with what's her name, Sarah.
Sally? I think Sally.
I think it's Sally. But it's Sally and Billy. Like, is that right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Characters. Who cares?
Who knows?
We're watching a movie about gremlins. I do not care about any of these people.
Every gremlin's name. I don't know any of the human names. You got the bar with the weird flasher gremlin.
Yeah.
Who shows up inexplicably in the second movie, too. It's like if you just multiply gremlins enough times, eventually one of them is going to be the weird trench coat flasher gremlin. Yeah. You've got the YMCA set piece. You've got the movie theater set piece and the climactic department store set piece. And I just remember the moment when young Bill, right?
Lil Bill.
Is walking into the YMCA, and it's this great tracking shot that like follows him as he approaches the building, and you just know something bad's going to happen in there. Yeah.
It was cool. I too really liked that thing.
These are the things that make it a very well-directed horror movie. Yeah. Right? Like the sense of space that is created within the film.
And I appreciate it also very... Who directed this? Spielberg?
Joe Dante.
Spielberg.
Spielberg was set to direct it at one point. But and he still produced it, I believe. But Joe Dante directed both this and the sequel.
I really like that it feels like it feels like it was given more love than a movie like Gremlins should have been given. Like there was a lot of like all those filming techniques and stuff. It felt very well put together, and you would think a little like creature feature that was kind of like a love letter to like 50s, I think, horror films about little monsters and aliens and stuff. You would think that it wouldn't feel so well-rounded and fulfilling, but it just felt like a real big, nice summer blockbuster, and it was just a great movie.
Well, and that's similar to some of Joe Dante's prior work as well. Like he did Piranha.
Yeah.
A wonderful little movie.
I think I've seen that, but I don't remember if I've seen it.
It was a movie that I really liked when I was a kid. I haven't actually watched it since, but it's a very fine movie. And it was just to cash in on like Jaws fever.
Yep.
So it didn't need to be a good movie. It just needed to have a fish enemy in it. But Joe Dante just, he was kind of on point in those years.
Speaking of Jaws fever, I was listening to a podcast about Tremors, one of my favorite movies, and I have seen that movie so many times, and even after having seen Jaws, I did not realize that not like the poster is like the Tremors poster is a rip off of Jaws poster. But not only that, the entire movie Tremors is just Jaws in the desert.
Jaws in the desert. Right?
Just like my that was pointed out in like a podcast I was listening to, and my fucking brain exploded. And I was like, why do I like it so much then? Like, it's just a rip off. But
well, and the thing about both of those movies is that it's okay for them to be rip-offs because they're really just both rip-offs of the same source, which is like the Dragon Slayer myth.
Yeah.
You know, this thing menaces a community, then we need to get these heroes together to go out and confront it. That's the essence of it's all rip-offs of fucking Beowulf.
There are like 8 stories.
Yeah, more like 3.
You're giving them too much credit. Sure.
Yeah, 8 stories.
Wow.
I can reduce that by half.
So, I don't want to just start talking about Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
I feel like I owe it to Gremlins, but how fucking sweet is Gremlins 2?
Gremlins 2 is certifiable, man.
Dude, I don't know if I've ever seen Gremlins 2. I feel like maybe I've seen parts of it.
I definitely had never seen a single shot from this movie in motion.
And it was amazing.
It's bananas.
I liked it more than the first one.
I don't know if I would say that. I don't think it's as well made as the first one.
The whole time I was just loving my life.
Yeah.
But I think where the first one was like a love letter to like old creature features, this was just like a love letter to just movies. And everything in that movie is just like a symbol to represent another movie. Everything is a reminder of something else you love.
Well, speaking of reminders of something else that you loved, I don't know if the ending of Inglourious Bastards is a specific reference to the movie theater scene in Gremlins, but the exact same shit happens in both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we've got these evil little guys. They all want to watch a movie together. Yeah, or Nazis.
Right, no, but like...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They all want to watch a movie together, and we blew them all up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exact same moment.
Now... I found...
There's another great movie theater scene in Gremlins 2 with the Hulkster.
With the Hulkster. Which I thought I was gonna hate. Because, like I had said, I don't know if I've ever seen this movie. But, like, I showed you that Key and Peele.
Yeah, Key and Peele kind of goes over all the craziest stuff in the movie.
And I remember thinking, like, man, this movie probably gonna suck. But all that stuff was sweet. Yep. Everything in it, that joke is funny. But I like it less now because it's not as funny now that I know all that batshit crazy stuff actually worked phenomenally.
Yeah. Oh, it's like it makes perfect sense that Vegetable Gremlin is in the movie. He ingested the vegetable serum, right? He ingested the plant essence.
Speaking of which, shout out to my wife, not a listener of the show. Can't say I blame her. She spends enough time around my voice. That was a reference to a famous artist whose name I forgot, and she showed me some of his paintings.
Oh,
and
he
paints people that have like vegetables as features.
Yeah, dude. I'll pull him up.
Pull it up.
Keep talking about other stuff.
Man, that's a lot of pressure, Ben. It's not like I just talk on this show.
I'll contribute.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Gremlins, but everything about Gremlins 2 was phenomenal. And it came out at this perfect time. Like, yeah, what's the guy's name?
Giuseppe Arcimboldo.
Yeah, no, why couldn't I remember that?
A Milanese painter. This painted around 1590.
Okay.
So really old-ass painting.
So, Gremlins 2 came out in 1990, which means that culturally, we were getting ready for every 10 years there's some iconic thing that you can say sums up that decade or whatever,
Texas Chainsaw 3, for instance.
Of course. So it came out when we were just like peak 80s. The 80s could not be more 80s.
The 80s wave was about to break.
And so they give you this just huge, it's in New York City, in a giant, biggest corporation thing ever possible.
Donald Trump is there.
Yeah, was he in this?
Clamp.
Oh, okay.
Clamp is a Trump.
I thought you meant like a Home Alone 2 cameo.
No, not actual
I
Trump.
was like, I'll sell that movie.
A Trump-like figure.
Yeah.
Clamp.
Mr. Clamp. Oh, God, I didn't even put...
What a great logo they had for him, too. Just
yeah.
a clamp crushing the earth.
So it's so great that it was just so on the nose about what it was a parody of.
Oh, yeah. It was like a full dystopian vision of society.
It was beautiful.
It was not what I was expecting from Gremlins. But from Gremlins 2, rather. But if you take, and they talk about this at the end of the movie as well, but if you take the like nice small town vibes of Gremlins 1, which is really kind of what that movie is about, and then you say, like, all right, well, what's the obvious counterpoint to this? Like, what do we do for the sequel that's going to respond to that? You go to the big city and you talk about the dehumanizing effects of industrialization.
Now, the best thing about this, in my mind, is that Gremlins 2 has this... It has what you just said.
Mm-hmm. It also has a gremlin that takes the gender change serum and turns into a lady gremlin.
Man, so there was a lot of progressive shit in this movie, first of all. They say, I mean, it's hard to say maybe this idea came from Gremlins 2, but they call the building a smart building. And that's what you say now.
I doubt that came from Gremlins 2.
Smart car, smartphone, everything that now has, Bluetooth is smart noun. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like, wow, they really hit that.
I was surprised to hear that, though.
They just called it a smart building. And it wasn't like the movie Smart House on the Disney Channel. But, so it kind of had this, like, half-baked, like, message of, like, the industrial world and dehumanization and all evil corporations and stuff.
Yeah, the key line is saying, if you build a place for things, then things will come to inhabit it, which I thought was very nice.
But the crazy thing is that while they were giving you this message, this movie came out in the late 80s when just toys were huge in the 80s. So they're giving you this message, but then what have they done? They said people loved Gremlins, 1984. This is 6 years later, and they said, cool. So we can make Mogwai toys, and we can make a Gremlin toy. So then in the sequel, they give you this like message, but then they make 14 different Gremlins, so they can sell 14 different type of Gremlin toys.
Did they sell those?
I mean, I don't know for a fact. Like, this may be making too big of a stretch. But, like, there were toys of everything in the 80s. And in the 80s, it was super popular to just, you palette swap and, like, do little variations of the same thing so you could sell more of it. I mean, you have Ninja Turtles, which are just the same thing with different colored bandanas. You have Mortal Kombat, which is famous for its palette swaps of the same character. Mm-hmm.
There's an action figure of just the gangster gremlin from Gremlins 1.
I'm telling you, man.
But that's Gremlins 1 is the thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that they're actually... I'm not sure that Gremlins 2 made enough of a splash to
maybe
it
merchandise
was,
it. Maybe
I think
was
that I think it was just
80s
fucking,
it passed by the time.
I think it was just... They wanted to be really creative and wacky with their crazy gremlin ideas, and someone gave them a blank check, and they ended up producing friggin' Electricity Gremlin, who is the gremlin that brings down the whole towering gremlin edifice.
That was great. Man, this movie, it was so good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'm glad we're back on the same page about this. It's nice when we just agree about an amazing movie.
Oh, fucking Spider Gremlin. There's a $65 Spider Gremlin toy.
Yeah.
This is just what I'm doing now.
We're going to start buying all the Gremlins. Am I crazy? Is Furby a direct ripoff of Gremlins?
There's a lightning gremlin.
What?
Action figure. It's just see-through plastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Furby does look a lot like the Mogwai, though.
I was thinking about
looks a lot like Gizmo. And I wonder if it is a ripoff. Ripoff's really harsh language.
Yeah, you know what? Where this is a ripoff free zone. Mm-hmm. This is just a inspired by zone.
There is a $300 Flasher Gremlin action figure.
I'll go halves with you, man. We can
$150 a piece. I've been wanting that Nintendo Switch for a long time, but I'd much rather spend that hard-earned dough on a Flasher Gremlin toy. This thing's sure to only appreciate in value. This is an investment in my child's future.
Yeah.
You want to see your college fund, Goose?
Here it is. Sell this thing.
Sell this flasher. I can't give this thing away, Dad. People aren't idiots anymore.
That's certainly not true.
That's certainly not true. You can find some poor sucker.
Gremlins 2, I hope, does not get forgotten in time. I feel like, we've lived long enough to know whether it will or not. And I mean, if you want to look at, loved forever, ideally, and forgotten in time, where does $5 Bull Moose Bin DVD fall on that scale of forgotten in time and loved by all?
Just like lost in the sea of culture that our boat is waving on right now. Yeah.
That, I think, is like a fascinating... I mean, I guess you have to be... I was going to say, you have to be local to us to get this, as if we don't have any listeners that don't live within 5 miles of us. Shout out to South Korea, where some of our listeners live.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
But we have there's movie store or whatever, and there's like a bin of like $5 movies, and I'm always fascinated by the movies that end up in that, because it's this weird like quality versus value thing where like a movie is so good that we're going to make so many copies of it that we can afford to sell it to you for next to nothing. And Gremlins 2 are frequently in the $5 brand new DVD bin.
Yeah, man. Well, is that because they made so many of them, or is it because demand on DVDs just plummeted?
No,
like it just hit the fucking rock bottom.
I mean, I guess that could also be a factor, but I think that they keep, they gets taken out, it gets put back in, they cycle the movies in the $5 thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it also might have to do with the fact that like the actual cost of making a DVD has reached a point where it's got to be so fucking cheap to that it's like whatever, $5.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I was just super on board for both of these movies.
Yep. 2 great movies.
I think do you think Billy and Sally needed to be in the second one?
Yeah, I don't know. What does the movie look like without them?
I mean, it almost like they were there to be the people who know what's going on, to remind people of the rules.
Right.
So I guess that was important, but
yeah, true.
But I mean, at the same time, like every zombie movie ever has to like re-explain the rules. Shoot them in the head, they don't die. They're dead but not dead. Yeah. So I don't know. I just felt like they didn't bring a whole lot, and so much of the focus was rightfully put on the Gremlins that they didn't really need to be there.
Yeah. Well, they needed to represent like the small town living being corrupted by the big conglomerate.
Yeah.
By the cartel.
You know what? That's a good point.
Like they needed to be the representatives from the original that could come and be beaten down by the mechanized society in which they lived.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with their performances. I was just wondering. I want to make that clear. They were both fine. I just want to make sure that they needed to be there. But this movie didn't fuck around much. I mean, it fucked around everything, but like everything in it was pretty satisfying to me.
I mean, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought like Christopher Lee's performance.
How did I even forget to bring that up?
About Christopher Lee. There were some things man was not meant to splice.
And not to mention too, the grandfather Munster was in.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, played a significant part in the film.
Yeah, playing kind of the if we are to read more Wizard of Oz references into this, playing kind of the Professor Marvel role, right? Of like, Billy, there you are.
Let's do, you know what? We wasted this Gremlins double feature. We should have done Gremlins 2 and The Wizard of Oz together. We'll say next year we'll come back for that.
Yeah. Christopher Lee's monologues, that's the thing that Christopher Lee brings to every role, is that for a long time Christopher Lee seemed like he would just be in whatever movie, right?
Yep.
Which was probably true. Dude just was a great actor and he loved to act, and he took something from cinema that many others did not, which is that he gave every role the gravitas of the stage.
Yeah. Even
if he was talking about friggin' Gremlins, right? or talking about the different weird experiments he was doing on animals and like collecting tissues from his secretary. And he just gave everything the same level of commitment.
I will say he put his effort in just as much as the first time he played Dracula and the fucking 20th time he played Dracula.
Yep.
What a man.
Yeah, a true treasure.
Yep.
Yeah, and great in this movie. Yeah, man.
Hulkster was great.
The concept of, like, all right, how are we going to make gremlins crazier? They go into a lab, right?
Yeah.
Mad science gremlins. They're just going crazy in there. Fucking brainy gremlin.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know. I think out of everything, that was like the most like, what the fuck?
Well, okay, I've got something bigger. I've got a bigger what the fuck moment than that. But like brainy gremlin through the whole movie was always the moment when I was like, okay, this movie went for it.
This movie just did not give a shit, and I love it for it.
Yeah, it's like the rest of them were kind of taking from the bar scene. It's like if you take the bar scene of them all going crazy in the first movie and expand it out so that it takes about a third of the movie. It's that. And like, don't get me wrong, I love that. I think it was the right choice for the second movie. But brainy the idea that one of these gremlins is going to take like a super intelligent juice in the lab and then he's going to have glasses on and he's going to give these like really erudite descriptions of gremlins, but he's still evil, right? Yeah. He's still a gremlin.
Not removed from it.
His intelligence doesn't make him less of a gremlin. He's just a brainy gremlin.
Oh my god.
No, the thing that I think you're failing to appreciate.
Now, I do have to wonder though, why is every gremlin and Mogwai evil except Gizmo?
Mogwais aren't, well, yeah. Maybe Gizmo is the source Mogwai. And the farther you get from the source, you experience signal degradation.
Yeah.
Because it really does seem like every time these little bastards start multiplying, it's just they get worse and worse. It's like the fourth gremlin to multiply off Gizmo has a mohawk, and then you know that you're fucked.
Yeah. It's like, it's alien rules.
Yep.
You know.
Speaking of which, great reference to Alien. The eggs that the gremlins come out of are like perfect. Perfect alien eggs.
That's what I'm saying, man. Just everything in this movie was like a tribute to some other fantastic movie.
And that goes for Gremlins 1 as well.
Yeah.
Like the part where the gremlins are inside of the tree and it falls on the mom. Obvious Evil Dead reference.
Man, I haven't seen Evil Dead since high school.
Yeah.
Also, Evil Dead 2, another one of those horror comedies that iconic 80s horror comedy.
Mm-hmm. Army of Darkness, same deal. A little more on the comedy end of the spectrum, but hey, there you go.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
You never seen Army of Darkness?
I don't think so.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the one thing that's crazier than Brainy Gremlin.
Yeah, please tell me. I forgot. Sorry.
Is the last shot of Gremlins 2. When the man, the kind of put upon assistant of Clamp, is trapped with the lady gremlin.
Yeah.
And he's got smooches all over his face. And Lady Gremlin is clearly like she's got designs on him. And the last shot of the movie is him making a horrified face, then thinking about it and kind of going like, nobody's perfect. You can't be too choosy in the game of love.
Man.
So that dude fucked a gremlin.
Yeah, we're going to have to...
Speaking of which, we'll talk about our sequel ideas soon.
You know what? We need to really... Let's have a workshop episode where we just pitch our movie ideas that we want to make. Mm-hmm. And,
we just try to shape them up a little bit.
Yeah,
try to get them
we'll
into something
work on
workable.
with each other. Then we can take a sabbatical and we'll work on them together. Mm-hmm. And we'll let viewers vote on what they think is the
which
best
one they think we should
best
write.
idea.
Yeah.
You know one I want to make completely unrelated. Mm-hmm. I don't know where this name came from, but my friends and I always joked about making a zombie movie called The Dead or Not Dead, and based on that name alone, I think that there's something there. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think you could go somewhere with that. Yeah.
So we have Gremlins 3, Freddy 8.
I've got at least 2 Gremlins sequel ideas.
Yeah, that's also... You talked about this earlier, 8 days ago before we started recording. Mm. You have some sequel ideas, some spin-offs.
Did I already talk about this? Were we recording? That's going in the show, right?
I believe that part is in the show.
All right.
I don't remember when we started.
I think it was after. I think it was before I talked about this. But my first one is obviously, because what you got to think about is where do you go from here?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the small town, you've got the city. Where do you go after that? And it's got to be contextual as well. You can't stay stuck in the 90s. But you also have to be reverent to the 90s. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is that the Gremlins go to space and the Hood in one movie. Maybe they go to one and then movie. The other. Yeah.
I almost think, well, as I thought before, that kind of follows Leprechaun trajectory. Mm-hmm. And I think 90s would be, we do Gremlins 3, and that's in the Hood, because I feel like that could be like a 90s gangsta mm-hmm. hip-hop. You could have the Flava Flav Gremlin, mm-hmm. The gun-toting Gremlin, the cocaine Gremlin.
That's what I really want. What I want to do is I want to interrogate the stereotypes a little bit. Because you can't just... Yeah. And that's why I think that they need to go to space as well.
Well, I think Gremlins 4 in space could be the New Millennium Gremlins.
Uh-huh.
That's...
Gremlins X?
Gremlins in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gremlins X.
Uh-huh.
I think they each deserve their own film.
I don't know, man. I think that In Space is the third act of Gremlins in the Hood.
Wow,
and I don't think you market it as Gremlins in the Hood and in space. I think you just market it as Gremlins in the Hood. But then in the third act, they go to space.
They go to space.
Yes.
You know what? Let's just write this. We'll Tolkien this. We'll just write it, mm-hmm. and then if we need to break it up once we flesh the whole thing out. Or we could just be...
Yeah. It's going to start out as one movie, then it'll be two movies.
Right.
And Guillermo will still be attached, and then it's going to
We'll be the guys that made the 6-hour Gremlin film, the 6.5-hour be like, no, it's one film. We have a vision. Steven Spielberg is executive producing it.
Amblin Entertainment on board. We've got all the same actors.
We're just going to Apocalypse Now our way through this movie. We're going to Eraserhead our way through this, like, in production for 8 years.
We filmed it over the course of, like, my daughter's entire childhood.
She's a baby and an adult in this film. In
the same movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do a workshop episode.
Yep. Someone's working on a spaceship in their backyard, right?
Yeah.
It's like this kid has got big dreams of conquering space, right? He's inspired by all this old iconography. And we went to the moon. What are we doing here? But it turns out there are some places man was not meant to go, because when he starts to, I don't know, how does he get in touch with the gremlin? How does he get in touch with the Mogwai, man? I don't know.
He goes down a dark alley in Chinatown.
Dark alley, Chinatown, looking for a special spaceship part.
Yeah.
He finds the Mogwai, gets wet. He gets rocket fuel on it, and then some jet engine.
I think we got to figure out how old this kid is too. If he's like 10, I don't know where he's gonna get rocket fuel. But I mean, when it comes to writing a film like Gremlins 3, you know where he needs to go. Mm-hmm. And you just got to figure out how to get there.
He's got to end up in Chinatown at some point.
He's got to get rocket fuel on that Mogwai.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how it happens.
Right.
It just needs to happen.
You're just finding the connecting spaces in between.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Do you have a Gremlin sequel idea? Or should I go straight to my other one?
No, please continue. I don't think I really. I was more trying to think of Gremlins to add to. Maybe that's the
dynamic. I come up with the broad strokes and you come up with gremlins, because obviously this movie is going to have both a sequence in the Hood segment and in the space third act.
How do you feel about directing?
I feel great about it,
because I think I'd much rather produce than direct. So
what does a producer even do?
That's exactly why
Are you going to finance this project?
That's exactly why I feel good about doing it, because no one really knows what that
you can do. You can do anything or nothing.
Yeah, I think it's just what I bring to the table in most of my creative endeavors is I make up for my lack of hard work and natural born talent by making things happen. Mm-hmm. That's what I bring to the table. So I think that just makes me a producer kind of de facto anyway.
Yeah. All right, my other Gremlin sequel idea, and I'm not sure which one you'd want to do first, but my other idea is, all right, where do you go after small town, then big city, Washington, D.C.? I'm talking government gremlins. Gremlins are in control of the United States government.
Okay.
All right, Gremlins climbing the Washington Monument. Gremlins defacing the Lincoln Memorial, right? We've got all kinds of stuff going on in this movie.
Yep.
Gremlins in the Smithsonian. Brainy Gremlin is a tour guide at the Smithsonian.
Yeah. Okay. So we'd have to figure. We have to flesh these out to figure out which one would logically come first.
Yeah.
We also could do a expanded universe. We could get these aren't direct sequels; they just exist in the same.
Maybe Act 1 is the Hood. Act 2 is Washington, D.C. Act 3 is in space.
You, sir, are a raging psychopath.
There we go. No, I think that I think the key to making a movie is to compact it as much as possible and try to stuff as much as he possibly can into it.
You're going to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back your way through this film.
I think that Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is the model for Gremlins 3.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
That is one of that's the most important point of reference that I have for Gremlins 3
okay,
right now.
So this
it's higher than Gremlins 1 or 2.
This is going to be so easy. What we're going to do is we're going to start an idea sheet, and then we're just gonna watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back
every week.
We're gonna write how many each scene, and then we're just gonna follow those beats with the Gremlins.
All right. So here's what's happening: the Gremlins are in a testing facility.
Yep.
Right. They're being tested upon. Then Brainy Gremlin and Billy work together to break the Gremlins out of the testing facility.
Yep.
All right. There are these Gremlins. They're scam artists. They're all lady Gremlins. They're all scam artists, and they enlist Jay and Silent Bob, who are in the movie.
They are in the film.
They are in the movie. They enlist them as fall guys to get these Gremlins out.
I was just going to say, do you think we could get Jay and Silent Bob in this film? And then I remembered that Kevin Smith has no integrity.
Jay and Silent Bob were born to be in a Gremlins movie.
That's absolutely right. Kevin Smith is the 90s icon for paying tribute to other things that you like.
Yes.
So,
hit me with some of your Gremlin ideas.
Well, man, I don't know if I have any. I mean, the problem with me, and I don't know, the problem with me is I don't really have ideas.
Here's the problem with me.
So it really depends on what type of properties we can have access to.
All of them.
Okay,
Blue Sky.
We're just going for it.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
So if we're in space, we're gonna need a Spider-Man symbiote venom. Clearly,
Gremlin.
A
Spider-Man symbiote venom Gremlin.
Gremlin. Yeah. We're gonna have to. If we're going to the Hood, like I said, we're gonna have to just, as culturally sensitively as possible, we're going to have that Flava Flav Gremlin.
I'm going to navigate these choppy waters for you, okay?
I think you're the perfect... I think you're the... We're a funnel, and I'm just going to start pouring shit down it.
I will say I'm uncomfortable with any Gremlins that are actively referencing black people. Just specific black people turned into Gremlins. Just write that down.
No.
We cannot do
blackface Gremlin.
Now, if I remember correctly, this is the second time on this podcast you have done that gag about blackface. It seems like I shut you down on blackface a lot.
Man, that might that's possible. I'm trying to think of when that could have come up.
And hey, that's okay. I don't know.
Was it when I said we should be Biggie and Tupac for Halloween?
That was off the air.
That never happened. All right, I don't know. Gremlins. I mean, I don't know. Cell phone Gremlin.
You're looking around.
I'm going
Mad
to
Max VHS Gremlin.
Incorporate the Key and Peele. I'm just going to say noun and Gremlin. Majora's Mask Gremlin.
Oh boy.
Tremors Gremlin.
Trevor's Gremlin.
A Jay and Silent Bob Gremlin.
A single Gremlin who represents both Jay and Silent Bob.
No, why? There's no limit to how many Gremlins we can have. Why would we ever combine any ideas?
If any Gremlin can be turned into two Gremlins, turn it into two Gremlins.
Yeah,
come on.
No, I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you put me on the spot, and
I thought you had some in the chamber.
I already said them all.
I thought you had 36 chambered Gremlins. Wu-Tang Gremlin.
Wu-Tang Gremlin. The W.
One Gremlin who represents the entire Wu-Tang clan.
That's impossible. I almost feel bad for our listeners when we do our Posse Cut episode because there's just going to be so much needless Wu-Tang info that I just regurgitate.
I'm going to bring my cross stitch so I can do that while you talk about the Wu-Tang clan.
You should.
Yeah.
It'll be... there are things like Fallout New Vegas and the Wu-Tang Clan that when I start, you just got to tune it out. And as the listener,
That's the Bible for me.
I am sorry, listeners. You're just going to have to learn when those moments are, because clearly every part of me feels that it's significant. I almost went on a rant telling you about why there are 36 chambers, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. We'll have to workshop this.
Yep.
And then it'll be our, AVGN the movie. We'll have
It'll be our fucking disaster.
Our shit show. I started watching that the other day.
Yeah?
It's on Amazon Prime. I had to turn it off. I cringed. I had to turn it off. I've watched every episode of Angry Video Game Nerd, and that movie is so fucking cringy.
It's too much.
I had to shut it off. Now, one other part that I want to talk about. We can go back to Gremlins 1 for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's really interesting to me? When you're making a movie about a kid or teenager, you frequently have parts of it take place in that kid's room. So some nerdy adult that is not cool has to design a bedroom to represent what this character likes. Mm-hmm. And I found that fascinating in Gremlins.
Especially the Road Warrior poster.
Yeah, there was a Road Warrior poster.
Which was not like an old movie at this point.
No, and I was almost kind of surprised, because when the movie came out, did it make a huge splash? Because
The Road Warrior?
Did it only come out in Australia first?
No, that movie was worldwide.
Okay.
That movie was very popular.
See, I didn't know that. So I was wondering, but yeah, the Road Warrior poster...
it made a big splash among filmmakers.
Yeah.
Especially, probably, right? Because it's like a masterpiece. It's one of the greatest movies ever made.
We'll call it that.
Joe Dante fucking loved the Road Warrior.
I'm positive he did if that poster was in there. Mm. It reminded me of whatever that dude's name is in Mallrats when they designed his bedroom to... I just think...
Brody?
Was it Brody's bedroom?
Was it Jason Lee's character?
Yeah. Yeah. With all the Marvel stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That seems cool to me. Just designing. It's an interesting
production design?
Yeah, especially that little aspect of it. You have this character that is the young one that you want your audience to be relatable and be on their side. And what can I, a 45-year-old movie set designer, do to get that
get
image
inside
across?
The head of this kid.
I want to get into the mind of the viewer. So it's comic books. Road Warrior. Mm-hmm. He's got fried chicken in his bed. Just like every one of our bedrooms.
Like every teenager I know. Yep. They will not stop eating fried chicken.
Fried chicken in bed's pretty...
I'm so excited to eventually eat fried chicken again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got to work up to it.
Man, I ate a meatball the other day.
Wow.
I ain't working up to shit. I'm back.
I'm back, baby.
I'm back, baby.
You eat it yourself. No, I'm not. This is not gatekeeping. I don't want to make that. But what you need to do is eat yourself a ham and cheese hot pocket. just fucking bottom of the barrel. There's no punchline to that joke.
That's just an actual recommendation.
Please just go home and eat a ham and cheese hot pocket.
Oh, man.
Not a lean pocket with the real cheese in it. The liquid, bright yellow.
I'm salivating at the thought of this.
Just a hot, smoky ham and a buttery crescent pack. Anything else about Gremlins or Gremlins 2?
No, I think we're done.
Yeah. This episode is less Gremlins than it is anything else.
How long have we been talking?
I mean, we're like an hour 15, including everything.
That was like 30 minutes of bullshit.
15 minutes of Gremlins.
Yeah.
So, let's wrap this up. Final thoughts about Gremlins and Gremlins 2.
They're absolute classics. I think everybody should watch them.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they'd make it on the tight shit list for me is the thing.
I can't put it.
I think we do agree about them.
Yeah,
but
they're great.
They're very, very good movies, but they're not transcendent.
Right.
You know?
I'm on board with that. I think Gremlins...
I know we've said literally nothing negative about these movies, and it sounds like we just love them.
Yeah.
And I think I do love this movie.
I do.
I think I love Gremlins 1. I think Gremlins 2 is a very curious film.
So, I think Gremlins is a fantastic film, and it's a great kid horror movie.
Yeah.
It could very easily be the first horror movie a child sees without having to be like, maybe I shouldn't have shown them that. I liked Gremlins 2 more. I loved every little minute of Gremlins 2. I was just fascinated, and I was laughing, and it just reminded me of somehow every movie I've ever seen I thought of it while I was watching Gremlins 2. And it just reminded me how much I love movies.
Yep.
You get a little Batman bat in there.
Yeah, the perfect bat symbol, signal sign.
That was great.
How about that part where the gremlin with bat wings flew into the concrete and got covered with concrete and then was able to fly up as his last act? He was able to fly up on top of the church and be a little gremlin gargoyle.
Amazing.
What a wacky sequence.
How fucking cool are gargoyles,
It has
by the
no
way?
bearing on the rest of the movie at all. It was just like, I have this idea for a sequence.
It just exists solely to be cool.
Yeah.
And that's Gremlins 2, man. Everything is just like, wouldn't it be fucking cool if we did this? Here's some money, make it happen.
Yeah,
Do
that
it.
sounds good.
Fucking make it happen. Electricity gremlin. Make it happen.
Make it happen. Did you not hear me before? Make it happen.
What if we made an offensively expensive yogurt bar set piece where you could have the thing full of toppings of M&Ms and candies, and the gremlins are in it and they're popping up.
I'm a gremlin and I'm inside of the yogurt bar.
I'm in a candy bar. Well, that doesn't make sense.
I'm inside of a bunch of M&Ms.
Make it happen. And that's what's so
Frozen
beautiful.
yogurt's huge right now. Make it happen.
Yep.
So yeah, Gremlins and Gremlins 2. Very, very good movies.
Unfortunately, we cannot call it tight shit.
It just doesn't feel right.
No. It would diminish the tight shit, I think, you know?
Stop doing that with your headphones.
Is that...
It
sorry.
comes through on
Does
my...
it? Yeah, that's I was playing on my earbud.
It's like it's crackling inside my skull. It feels like lightning
Sorry,
in
everybody.
there. I don't know if they can hear it.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe that's just
if
for
you
me.
can hear it. So let's wrap this up.
All right. What are we doing next week?
We are going to watch the movie Signs.
Signs, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, Signs, starring your friend and mine, Mel Gibson.
Yep. We're going to watch Mark Night Shyamalan's Signs, starring Mellium Gibson.
Mellium.
I have no idea what M. Night's first name is. It's certainly not Mark, but I always call him Mark Knight.
It's Marcus.
Is that real? No, it's not. It's a very not English name, I think, if I recall.
I have no idea.
But it's probably just like Monty or something. Very English name. Anyway, thanks for listening. We are going to talk about Signs next week. I'm very excited.
I like this movie a lot.
You know what I love about Signs most recently? You and I are totally on the same page about Signs.
Signs is a controversial movie. People did not like it at the time it came out.
I don't want to say this preemptively, but I think you and I might be in the rare position to make the bold choice to put Signs on our tight shit list. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I watched this movie once when I was 12 years old, and I'm excited to return to it to see if I really like it as much as I did then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So thanks for listening. You can listen to more Ben and Curt Till It Hurts and other Black Gold shows by subscribing to Black Gold Podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. You can listen to it on YouTube.
Yeah, most of the time.
Eventually.
Eventually it goes up on YouTube.
Yeah. You can check out the sweet little thumbnails that Ben makes for it.
My hand-picked thumbnails.
Yeah. And you can follow Ben and Curt on Twitter at Ben_and... Wait.
Yep.
And _Curt.
Yes.
At
Ben_and_Curt.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CurtCake5K. And that's it. We're going to wrap this up. Next week we'll be talking about Signs. We rewatch it. Just rewatch it. Maybe you don't like it. It's better than you remember. Bye, everybody.
Bye.